Hello, everyone. Welcome to class 4. So let's make the mudra for the mandala offering. A year ago, I couldn't do this, and I can now, so that's rejoiceable. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense, covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, the 4 continents, wearing a jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayame. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in giving and the rest, may I reach Buddha. I will reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Okay, we're going to do a short meditation. So please get comfortable. Let's do 2 rounds of 10 breath. I'll count them. So check your posture. Shoulders should be level, head level, eyes lowered or closed, spine straight. Go for refuge in the fact that teachings this weekend will help you with your death awareness and help you change how you live your life. So you're prepared for that eventuality and your loved ones are prepared for it. Next, develop bodhicitta. Think of someone you know who's having trouble, physical pain, emotional pain, mental anguish. Think how much you would like to be able to help them and grow that feeling into your heart. Invite your holy being to come and meditate with you. They sit in the air in front of you, a full-length prostration away, life-size, smiling, happy that you're doing this practice this weekend. Mentally prostrate, thanking them for their good qualities. Make them an offering. The nicest one, in my opinion, is some part of your practice you did well today. Confession, regret a wrong deed that you did in the last 24 hours. Replay the mental video and determine to try not to do it again in a reasonable amount of time frame. Now rejoice in the specific goodness that you did and be happy about it. Ask for teachings, both formal and informal. Part of the game of your Buddhist practice is to be searching for lessons all day, every day. What's that person trying to teach me? Ask the teachers to stay, pray for their long lives and continued involvement with us. You're standing in front of a green door with a sign that says, "Time of death is uncertain." You open the door to the left and step into a triangular room. You are at the point, the apex, and the base across the room from you has a red door in it. In front of you is a glass and chrome table with a calendar line on it with your 72nd birthday circled on it. You recall that lifespans are not fixed. To think that I will live that long is a fundamental ignorance that I accept as true. 50% of the people will reach that age, 50% won't. Which one am I? You lay the calendar down. You walk past the table. You find yourself in a setting like your living room at home. You see everything in your living room. You know it's just routine, mundane things, bookcase, coffee table. But you know that somewhere in all of it could be a tripwire that would set off a metaphorical bomb that could result in your death. This is the realization there's so much that can kill you and so little that sustains you. That beautiful coffee table from IKEA with sharp glass corners that if you tripped and fell and hit your head could kill you. The reading lamp that flickers and has a switch that needs replacing, since sometimes when you touch it, it's really hot and shouldn't be. You walk into your kitchen, your eyes set on the toaster that is plugged in. You remember a friend telling you their toaster spontaneously caught on fire once, and luckily they were home. You remember about the battery charger for your first battery-powered drill that started smoking, and luckily you came to check on it before it caught fire on your wood workbench. You turn and walk toward the red door, walking across a plush white carpet. You step on something that goes through the sole of your shoe and pricks the bottom of your foot. You sit down on a chair and you see that you've stepped on a thumbtack that you dropped a week ago, and you never bothered to look for it. You take your shoe off and you see that you have a small wound. It's just barely bleeding. But it's a puncture wound. And you know that puncture wounds are notorious for getting infected. You really should clean it, but you've got other things to do. So you put your sock back on, put your shoe on, you get up and you walk toward the red door. The sign on the door says, "Only the Dharma can help." Remember your holy beings. Bring them, shrink them to about 3 inches in size, and bring them to the top of your head facing forward. Shrink them down to the size of a BB. Mentally watch that go down your central channel to your heart, where they'll stay for the rest of the day, guiding you through this practice. Okay, you can open your eyes. Okay, Death Awareness Class 4. Only the Dharma will help. This is the last of the 3 major divisions. So what do we mean? Well, when you're dying, if you've been at anybody's bedside when they're dying, you know that one of the first things that happens, and it should, and it's good, friends and relatives show up. From a Dharma perspective, it's very nice, but they can't really help. In fact, they beg you not to leave, but they can't come with you. You've interacted with these people all your lives in some fashion, but at your death, it's you and you alone. At worst, they're crying, they're holding your hand, they're telling you you can't leave, they're putting a guilt trip on you of some kind. And that's not the kind of thing you want on your mind at this point. That's not to say don't have any relatives come and say goodbye to you. I'm not saying that. But keep it in perspective. Material possessions don't help. It used to be, and maybe it still is in this country, the idea of the guy who dies with the most toys wins. None of the things you collected in your life can go with you. For most of us, 5 days a week are spent pursuing earning money so we can eat, own a car, a house, an apartment, stuff. We are, in a sense, selling a part of ourselves to get these things. We do what it takes to get money to get the stuff we want. When we die, none of that matters. Except perhaps what we did to get what we want. My truck, when I had a truck, my tools at Diamond Mountain, my computer, will all go to a new owner. Now I can take care of that, as we discussed in last class, by putting together a will and a description for my lovely wife, hopefully, to take care of for me. Review what you own slowly, without regret. Start to simplify your life. Lastly, your body doesn't help. What do we mean by that? We protect our body very carefully. But it's not going to do any good. We don't take the body with us. We can have the most perfect athletic body, but when we die, it stays behind. The only thing that comes with me is my mind. That's all that's left. So we want to make sure our mind's got the right mindset. So at death, there are two divisions of karma that are important. There's projecting karma. That's what throws you to your next rebirth. The strongest karma in your life is the one most likely to come up and project you into your next rebirth. So you want to be careful which one that's going to be. If you have a habit of lying to people, that's probably going to be the karma that projects and throws you into your next life. You don't want that. The strongest karma throughout your life determines the overall type of life. Then there's completing or finishing karma. That's the details of your next life. Now, Geshe-la put together something that was kind of amusing at the time. I still think it's kind of amusing, but it can be kind of scary. So the permutations. Good projecting, bad finishing. Good projecting, you have a human rebirth, but you're always sick. Bad projecting, good finishing, hell rebirth, but you're the Lord of hell. So you're in hell, but you're in charge of hell. Good projecting, good finishing, human rebirth, and you become enlightened. That's what we're all striving for. Bad projecting, bad finishing, the hell rebirth, and endless torment. So our body and our mind, our body is us. At the time of death, if we don't know better, we can be getting mad that our bodies let us down. You get angry, something you do not want to do. Realize that all you are left with at death is your mind stream. So don't be upset. Don't get mad at your body. Don't question whether you kept, it's like people you know that runners, athletes that die from heart attacks or strokes. You can imagine as they were dying, they were thinking, well, I spent all this time and energy working out and having a fit body, and I die by the way that somebody that's not fit dies by. How fair is that? You don't want to be thinking that. You want to be able to say, okay, I'm off to a new body. Mind stream. Only your mind stream continues at death. Now, interesting, your karma comes with you. And when we say your karma, it's a bit of a misnomer because the karma that is now me, when I die, that karma still exists, but it's not my karma. It's the mind stream that appeared as David or Sumati in this life. Kind of implies it's self-existent, which of course it isn't. So, only your mind goes with you. So it occurred to me, if I'm laying in my hospital bed and I'm dying and I'm trying to think of the right things to have on my mind, what better person than quotes from Master Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So I've selected a few that I thought we'd go through. And I highly recommend doing something similar. I have the source of all my good and the three principal paths memorized and use it throughout the day. Often find myself quoting one of the stanzas as something happens in my life. So here we go. I will give you this in print after class, so don't worry about writing all the details down. But it's chapter 3, full acceptance of the awakening mind. Thus, by the virtue collected through all that I have done, may the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all the sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. May a rain of food and drink descend to clear away the pain of thirst and hunger. And during the aeon of famine, may I myself change into food and drink. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and destitute. May I turn into all the things they could need, and may these be placed close beside them. Without any sense of loss, I shall give up my body and enjoyments as well as all my virtues of the 3 times for the sake of benefiting all. May all who say bad things to me and cause me any other harm, and those who mock and insult me, have the fortune to be fully awakened. May I be a protector for those without one, a guide for travelers on the way. May I be a bridge, a boat, a ship for all those who wish to cross the water. Some of you may be familiar with these quotes from Master Shantideva about acting like a piece of wood. So chapter 5, guarding alertness. When, just as I am about to act, I see that my mind is tainted with defilement, at such a time I should remain unmovable like a piece of wood. I use this verse in the source of all my good meditation in the Bodhisattva room. Whenever there's attachment, whenever there's a desire to be angry, I should not do anything nor say anything, but remain like a piece of wood. Whenever I have distracted thoughts, the wish to verbally belittle others, or feelings of self-importance or self-satisfaction, when I have the intention to describe the faults of others, pretension and the thought to deceive others, whenever I'm eager for praise or have the desire to blame others, whenever I wish to speak harshly and cause dispute, at all such times I should remain like a piece of wood. Whenever I desire material gain, honor, or fame, that should be fame, not reign. Whenever I seek attendance or a circle of friends, and when in my mind I wish to be served, at all these times I should remain like a piece of wood. Whenever I have the wish to decrease or to stop working for others, and the desire to pursue my welfare alone, if motivated by such thoughts, a wish to say something occurs, at these times I should remain like a piece of wood. So I highly encourage you to get a copy, if you don't already have a copy, of Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. It's wonderful reading. It's very uplifting reading. I've made a series of excerpts from it for when I teach. I can get to specific quotes more easily. I actually have an interesting story about we're not supposed to have opinions or speak unkindly of teachers. I have a favorite translation of Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. It's by Stephen Batchelor, one of the first things he translated. He translated another version years later because he had better command of Tibetan. But I find that one not as good, not as easy, not as enjoyable to read as his first translation. Now, I'm not speaking poorly of him. I don't mean to if that's what it sounds like. But he's like Geshe Michael. They've got a skill, a style that makes reading this very dense material fun and intriguing. Those are the kind of commentators and authors in Buddhism that I enjoy most reading. So find yourself a copy, read through it, find some verses you can quote. This is the kind of thing you want on your mind. Geshe Chikawa, when he was dying, was heard to say, no, I don't want to go there. I want to go down to the hell rooms and help the hell beings, but instead I'm going to a paradise. Okay, that's the end of our slideshow. Okay. What else do I have to say about that? I think that's it.
Sorry, what is the name of the translator? Stephen what? What did you just say from the book?
I'm sorry, what are you asking?
For the guides of the Bodhisattva way of life. You say the copy.
No, Stephen
the one that
Stephen Batchelor.
Bachelor. Thank
He
you.
has two versions. One has a light blue cover, and the other I don't recall. They're both great, but I just happen to really like the way his words flow in the first one he translated. So we're going to do another short meditation. So get ready, get yourself set to, this one's a little bit longer. We'll use the preliminaries we've already done. So get comfortable, get still. You find yourself in front of a red door, and on it is a sign that says, "Only the Dharma can help." You open the door to the left and step inside and close it. You enter a glass-lined corridor, window-lined corridor. It's like a greenhouse. You can see out, but it's one-way glass, so nobody on the outside can see you. You stop. On both sides of the corridor, you see your loved ones and your closest friends. They're having a good time and are unaware of you. You bang on the glass to get their attentions, thinking, "Hey, don't forget me. I haven't been dead for more than a couple of days, and you're forgetting me already." Remember, they cannot help you and they will forget you. You continue walking, and now you see a room on both sides again that is full of all the stuff, your stuff, but it's unorganized, just tossed into boxes. Stranger going through it like at a garage sale. I had a Toyota Tacoma pickup. That was the first vehicle I actually purchased exactly what I wanted. I needed it to do the operations at Diamond Mountain. It was a wonderful truck. It's a truck I ruined when I rolled it. I had a rule in that truck. You couldn't eat in my truck because I didn't want the mess. I didn't eat in my truck. Well, that's not quite true. I sometimes did. But I think this is a funny story for having a rule like that. I hadn't had the truck more than a month. And I went into Tucson on errands, and I stopped at a grocery store to pick up some groceries. I noticed an elderly lady with a bag of groceries sitting on one of those large concrete garbage bins. When I went in, when I came out, she was still there and obviously quite agitated. So I asked if she was okay, and she said, "Well, I've been waiting for a ride now for 45 minutes, and I don't think they're coming, and I have a wedding cake to make for my daughter, so I need to get home." So I said, "Well, how far do you live from here?" She said, "Just around the corner." So I said, "Fine, hop in the truck. I'll take you to your house." So she hopped in the truck, took her to the house. She got out of the truck, and I smelled peppermint. I thought, this is odd. I don't have any peppermint in the car. Well, when she sat on that concrete garbage bin, she sat on a wad of gum. When she sat on the seat in my truck, that wad of gum now became part of my truck. When she got up from the truck, I could now smell it, and then I could see it. So imagine my horror. Here I have a almost brand new truck. I don't allow anybody to eat in it, and I've got gum stuck in my seat. I'm mortified. So I make some phone calls the next day, and I find a place that can take care of it. And they froze it and shipped it out. And there was no evidence that it happened. But I think it's a funny story, a fun story. Here I was helping somebody, and by helping them, I caused myself more stress. Believe me, it put into perspective worrying about whether people ate in my car, my truck. Okay, so they're looking to the things that you treasured, you organized. They're pointing out the scratches, the worn seat covers, the worn tires. You get upset. You can't take any of your possessions with you. You're upset that you cannot get to them or that others don't care. This is not something you want on your mind as you're dying. That's attachment, that's regret, that's anger. None of those you want on your mind. So be prepared when you die. Prepare yourself to have divested yourself. Everything you want to have a, quote, good home, unquote, you've taken care of. I have a particular watch that I know a guy in Alabama would really like to have. I'd like to send it to him now, still attached to it. So I'll send it to him. I'll put that in the will and I'll send it to him. I'll have an address and a phone number, and my lovely wife can call and let him know it's coming. Those are the kind of detail you need to go to. My computer's about how many years now? It's about 4 years old. So by computer standard, it's an ancient computer. Still runs beautifully. I have 2 external monitors for it. So I need to be sure to list in my list of things where those go. So again, my wife doesn't have to think about it. She can just fill in the slots and get rid of the stuff. Now you're at the end of the corridor. There's a room that looks like a morgue. There's a naked dead body on the autopsy table on the left side of the room. You look at it and you recognize it as your body, even though the face is featureless and unrecognizable. But you recognize it, you know it's you. The point of that is then, so what does come with you? Your karma and nothing else. You reflect on that. It doesn't mean take care of your body, not to take care of your body during your life. It's just to not be attached, not be attached to physical things, to things you own, to the house, things like that, not attached to your body. You turn back into the corridor and you see a white door. That's where the meditation stops for today. So remember that your holy being, ask them to come and stay in your heart to guide you. They're happy to do so. They shrink down to about 3 inches in size. Rise up, turn to face the way you are, come to the top of your head. Shrink down again to the size of a BB and descend down to your heart through your central channel. They stay in your heart and their love and compassion radiate throughout your body. Anytime you need them, they're there to help. In organizing this the way I did with the meditation, I had to separate the text and the meditation to match. And I think that ended up being a little bit opposite of what I wanted to do, but that's what I did. So some of these classes are much shorter than they should be, and I apologize in advance for that. We're covering the material, don't get me wrong. So let's dedicate this class, and then I'll be more than happy to answer anybody's questions. By the goodness of what I've just done, may all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the 2 ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. Thank you for the opportunity to teach you this wonderful material. We have a good class tomorrow, later, let's see, it's going to be noon, midnight my time. So 7, is that right? Yeah, Saturday night my time, Sunday morning your time. That'll be a longer class. Then on Sunday afternoon for Europe and for Moscow, we'll go through the entire meditation. So, if anybody's got questions, please fire up.
I have a question
Okay.
about the permutations, what you just mentioned.
Yes.
That means, it's just to understand it properly. It's not, for me, permutations somehow sounds like you are kind of having different lives simultaneously.
Well,
But this is not the intention, or what is the idea is the combinations in one mind stream, correct?
Yeah, it's the combination. So you could have, because there are two alternatives, good and bad, projecting karma, good and bad, finishing karma. These are the permutations, the possible permutations you could have. So depending on your mindset at the time of death, you could have good projecting, bad finishing, etc. So these are possibilities for your rebirth.
And the completing or finishing karma, because you say, okay, the projected karma is the strongest karma throughout my life, and then the completing, the finishing karma is then the details, but the details, which karma is that exactly? Is the karma at the moment of death? Like what you were mentioning before in the class before, why not to bother people, why then the process of dying, because if you put them in a fridge, I don't know the name, refrigerator, then they will desire to to be in a warm place, and then they will throw them to or throw us to a hell realm. Is that, what karma is that? Is that the projecting karma, or is that the completing or finishing karma?
I would think that's a projecting karma, because it's not telling you which hell realm they're going to. It's saying they're going to a hell realm. And the detail, the finishing karma would be which of the many different hell realms they get to go to. Now, the interesting thing is, let's say it's a very learned practitioner, then by putting them in the refrigerator, they're going to want to go somewhere warm. So because of their learned practitioner, their hell realm will be at least the most pleasant one they could have. And they'll be out of there pretty quickly because of their karma to not stay in there.
Okay. And maybe can you remind me, I know there is some priorities for karma ripening. Like there is this, you have it unless, and then there is something else, unless. Do you have that by memory, or
what do you mean by unless?
like there is a list when I guess Michael explained a long time ago, but I don't remember it now. What is the priority of the karma ripening? There is karma ripens by the habit, or like something that you are used to do, unless, and then becomes something else, and then, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, I don't have that. Let me do this. Let me get to my class references, and we'll just look that up, because I remember part of it, but I don't remember all of it. So now we need to think of the right search term.
Unless. No, I'm kidding.
Let's see. Unless, well, we can try unless. Edit, find, habit. Let's try habit. Well, habit wasn't a good choice. Oh, maybe.
And by priority, I don't know. I
Well,
think it's
maybe, I
something
think
with
I
priority ripening or something
may
like
have
that.
just scooted by it. No. Well, let's try. Um, oh, golly, I'm trying to think of a better term. High, High. That would be high karmic object. I'm searching. No,
By priority, it also didn't work.
no, I'll try priority. I don't remember that being priority. No, it's not in the database.
It's okay then.
Yeah, I'll look at it and I'll find and get the information for you by next class. How's that?
Thank you. It's not a
There's
urgency.
there's obviously the strength of the karmic object. Your llama is a strong karmic object. A dog would be not so high a karmic object. Could be a high karmic object, but for most people, it's not as high as a sibling or a child. Any other questions? Ella, hi.
Hi, Lama. I just wanted a little clarification, if you could. When we die and we leave the family, friends, body behind, it seems that the mind, like my human mind, I don't take like if I were to take a dog birth, I wouldn't have this mind. So it seems like the mind is also left behind.
Well, that's a very interesting question, as you are wont to pose. Because how does a human mind fit in that of an ant or a dog? And my thought, this is just off the top of my head, my thought would be you're in there as a very frustrated human because you can't do the things. So maybe that ripens as being one of those really intelligent dogs that can do everything but talk and write and drive. So maybe that's a reflection of that.
Thank you.
But when you say take our mind with us, we tend to think of taking our mind with us. And our mind is ineffable. It's nothing you can put your fingers on, but it survives. If a nuclear weapon went off, I'd be dead, but my mind wouldn't be.
I think maybe I was confusing mind and mind stream.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, and mind stream, boy, that's a loaded subject. We all have a mind. We are not all part of the same mind stream. There's many mind streams as there are living beings, in my estimation. So there are billions upon billions, trillions, gazillions, however, whatever you want to use. But where does mind stream? How does a mind stream work? I know it's the constant flow of karma, ripening or growing or shrinking. But I understand the concept of mind stream. I accept it. But the detail, it's like so many things in my Buddhist practice. When I start to narrow down the detail, I don't get a satisfactory answer. I don't give up. I just keep looking. It's interesting, when I was first doing this, we were first studying together with 3 or 4 other people in a small study group in Tucson. I had a copy of Geshe-la's translation of the Abhidharma Kosha, and I read through it, and I can't remember the section it was on, but it made perfect sense to me. Perfect sense. So clear that I didn't need to write anything down for class. I was going to describe this to everybody, and they were going to understand it as clearly as I did. I get to the class, I open the page. Hello? I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. So did I understand it and forgot it? Did I delude myself on understanding it? I just remember going, next time, write it down, you moron. But which I did, but I didn't come back to that particular topic. So there are only 2 questions out of however many people are taking the class. Okay,
Can I ask a question about what Ella just asked?
sure.
Because when you say, if I am a dog, no, if I die and then I get a rebirth in a dog, and then it's like I have a human mind, that somehow doesn't make sense to me, because I believe we have the seeds to be anything, and therefore we can be reborn in anything. But that means it's like the other seeds as a human kind of go on hold, and now I am projecting dog. But it's not that I'm a human trapped in a dog. It's like I am a dog, and I have now the seeds are dog seeds. No? Or am I maybe misunderstanding?
Ella's point is if if your mind stream was doing complex math, and now your mind stream's in the brain of a dog, what happens to your ability to do complex math?
Exactly, it's the point that I'm making. You have the seeds for many things, or we all have seeds for many things. If we have lived for countless times, like being reborn, then we have seeds for anything. And that means when you are reborn in a dog, then you are not making calculus or math anymore. Now you have the seeds, or I want to chew on something.
No, I see your point, and I agree. I think what happens, you have a mind stream that has all these seeds. And if they ripen as a human, they may ripen the seeds to do calculus. They may not. If they ripen as a dog, they may ripen as a seed to be a Dachshund or a Great Dane. But to be a dog does not mean you have the ability to do complex math. So
Yeah,
the
exactly.
seeds in your mind stream have ripened as a dog. The seeds for complex math haven't. Or they might, and that's the prodigy dog that does calculus and knows how to use a computer. So there are animals that do extraordinary things, and I think that can be explained best by some form of karma ripening from their mind stream that doesn't ordinarily ripen. Svetlana, you had a question?
Yes, I have also a question about how to sustain connection with our teacher um, during the process of the death, that in our future rebirth we can have this connection with the teacher and
No,
continue.
that's a very interesting question. I think the way to do that would be to help during your life, help other people find the teacher they need. That would be setting and doing it with a specific intent. So someone says, I'm looking to study meditation. Do you know anybody in nearby that's a good meditation teacher? And so I go and find it for him, and I say to myself, I'm finding Svetlana a meditation teacher because this is going to help her on the path, and it's setting the seeds for me to find my teacher in the future. So if I'm trying to find Geshe Michael in the future, he's probably not going to be Geshe Michael. He's going to be somebody else. So I'm looking for a teacher, not specifically perhaps Geshe Michael, because Geshe Michael doesn't exist anymore. Does that make sense? Joanna, do you have a question? No? Okay. Well, thank you for the chance to teach. We'll see you all in 11 hours. I'm going to go get some sleep. Bye-bye.
Thank you for teaching, Sumati.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. My pleasure.